So you're listening to Radio Shields Northeast, and I am talking with Lindsay Banks today. Lindsay is an amazing woman, actually. I know her personally, and but she's a psychic medium and a spiritual entrepreneur. I know that means that she actually helps people who are in the holistic world, as well as supporting people, and she runs lots of groups, and she's amazing. Supportive influence in our area. She also attends lots of workshops. She runs lots of workshops, and she goes to lots of fairs. And a few years ago, she went through a really, I guess, a dark time where things were really challenging, and like we've been speaking about, sometimes it's through the dark times that we have growth, isn't it? It's like the universe plants us in the ground like a seed and covers us in earth, and it feels very dark and quite a tough time, but actually what beautiful things can grow from that. And one of the beautiful things that grew from Lindsay's dark time was that she ended up writing the most amazing little book. It's called A Gentle Hug for the Soul. It's one of my faves. I keep going back to it, and it's simple. It's a really simple guide to self-care, and lots of other goodies. So we've got Lindsay on the show. Welcome, Lindsay. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
And this month we're talking all about self-care and kindfulness. Kindfulness, it's mindful or small or simple acts of self-care that help you to feel good, feel positive, and obviously help you to get fitter and healthier too. So I can't think of anyone better than you to have on, because this is absolutely something that you talk about all the time. Tell us a little bit more about your journey.
Okay, so I started off learning Reiki back in 2008. I used to work for a massive retailer, and I was working like 60 hours a week. I was stressed, I was having headaches, I was drinking 7 cups of coffee a day, I was on 40 cigarettes a day. My lifestyle was like as far removed as from now as what it possibly could be. And I felt like I needed something for myself. And I'd been told about Reiki a few years previously, and I thought, I'm going to go and have this Reiki session done for me. So I went and had this Reiki session, and this lady was talking to me about fairies and angels, and I left there thinking, oh my God, this lady's crazy. You know, this is ridiculous. Who talks about fairies? I don't even know anyone who talks about fairies.
Do you know, sometimes when you meet these kind of almost slightly spiritually awakened people, you think, fine line between insane and enlightened.
And I didn't really have that like spiritual awareness either back then. So I just thought, you know, whatever.
What is this?
Yeah. But what I felt was that sort of like, I felt a lot calmer in myself. So I thought, I want to go and learn it. So I learned it in 2008. And then sort of it was just dabbling really and learning and feeling really intrigued about all this different spiritual stuff that was out there for you that could help you. So it was about personal responsibility as well. So learning these tools and then actually sort of like embracing them and using them. I read loads of books. Honestly, I've spent hundreds of pounds on attending fairs and workshops and everything else. But yeah, like you said, you mentioned earlier, you know, the dark time. So my best friend Lisa passed away on my 36th birthday, which was in 2016. And I hadn't really experienced grief until that point. So my grandma passed away when I was 18. And it's sort of like, it felt like that was the natural order. You know, it's like when your grandma or your granddad passes, it hurts and it's hard. But, you know, well, they've had a really good life. They've had so many years. And my friend was only sort of like in her early 50s. And yeah, I just remember thinking, oh my God, I've become emotionally numb to life. I couldn't remember the last time that I'd had a proper giggle or the last time I'd cried. I just felt like I was going through the motions of living this life without actually tuning into myself and thinking about me. So I had 2 small children. I was looking after them. I had a husband. I had a business. But yeah, so that sort of started me on this, let's say, like downward sort of spiral.
I think a lot of people who are listening to this show are going to completely resonate with that. You know, a lot of people are working a lot of hours, and many people nowadays bring work home with them as well. So they're not just doing a 40-hour week. They're coming home, they're responding to emails at home. A lot of people work from home as well as from an office. We don't just do a 30 or a 40-hour week anymore. And then in addition to all of those hours of work, we have got families, we've got children, we've got school events. There are so many responsibilities. So I think a lot of people listening to this will resonate with that. But in addition to that, to have such a loss, that must have been a huge impact on your life. A best friend. I mean, I don't know what I'd do without mine.
Yeah,
But
it was.
yeah, really painful.
Yeah, but I think, like, looking back on it now, you know, it was very painful, but it was very much a catalyst for me to change my life, to change and to start again putting all these tools into practice that I'd sort of pushed aside because I was concentrating on my family. And I was like, I need to start incorporating these tools again, otherwise I'm not going to get myself out of this space.
So Reiki was the start for you, really. It kind of opened your eyes to the world of the woo, the woo world, the woo world. The kind of the more alternative things, the more holistic things, the more natural things, actually. Reiki means universal life force energy, and it's just natural energy that's just everywhere, isn't it?
Exactly.
And there's I teach, I'm a Reiki master myself, and I teach Reiki, but I also teach the science of healing as a part of my Reiki 1 course, because I think some people like a bit of science, and there are now lots of scientific evidence to support these kinds of healing practices, which I love. I love it when science catches up with complementary or integrative medicine. So Reiki, yeah, me too, actually. I was nursing, and there was I used to call her the witch lady. Used to come on a Thursday afternoon and lay her hands on my clients who had were all quadriplegic and ventilated and suffered from quite bad neurological pain. And of all of the things that we did in terms of pain management and relaxation and all sorts of things, and we did look at lots of different things, that woman had come into the space and immediately everybody would feel calm, which was very nice when you were feeling quite frantic as a nurse. And she'd lay her hands on a particular patient at the time, and he would just drift off into this most beautiful sleep and wake up pain-free. And I said to her, what are you doing? What do you do? What is this witchcraft? Because I didn't understand what it was at all. And it's funny how Reiki was my beginning of seeing the human body as more than just a functional apparatus, more than just a machine, but as a spirit and as an emotional being as well. So yeah, it's very interesting. So what happened next after Reiki?
So after my best friend passed, then me and my husband decided to get divorced. So I had that to deal with as well. So I've got the grief of my friend, and then the sort of like collapse of my marriage. And again, it was just, I realized again that these tools. So there was the Reiki, there was crystals. You know, I'd read about angels. I believed in angels, so I was constantly asking the angels for help. I used angel cards just to sort of help me to know that I was going down the right path, that I was going to be okay. So I was just starting to utilize all these tools on a daily basis. Meditation was like a godsend during that time, you know, just being able to take time out, because you've got all these thoughts going through your mind. And mindfulness as well, about just thinking, because if I'd have worried and kept thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen to me next year? What's going to happen to me next month? Where am I going to live? What's it going to do? And asking myself all these questions, I think it would have sent me into like a really bad state, in a really bad way. But by just waking up in the morning and putting some of the Reiki principles, like, right, just for today, I am going to do this. Just for today, I'm going to do this. and not forcing myself, you know, like to be happy. And if someone was saying, how are you feeling today? I started being honest and being, actually, I'm having a really shit day. Do you know what I mean? I'm feeling really down. I'm not feeling great. But being mindful that that was just for that moment, and that the next day I might be feeling a bit better. I might be feeling a bit different. So definitely using mindfulness and meditation as well helped through that time.
I mean, I also had an incredible encounter, spiritual growth myself as a result of meditation. For a long time, I really struggled with my mental well-being, and I would get stuck in the house some days. You know, I would feel like I just couldn't face the world. So my world became very small, and I was kind of stuck inside my home. And I remember one day I'd run out of food, I'd run out of milk, there was nothing. And I remember it took me 3 hours to get ready just to go to the corner shop and get the stuff I needed, because I was just so exhausted all the time, and just quite afraid really of the big world out there. And I started meditation. I actually studied meditation at university and had all this knowledge and information, but never applied any of it to myself. I studied the perceived effects of on your health. So I did like a baseline test where I said, you know, how healthy do you think you are? And then I put people on a meditation course for 3 weeks, and then did another test, and all the people who'd done the meditation course all felt happier and all felt healthier and all felt much better. And I knew this, so I got actual evidence, seen it with my own eyes, but never applied it to myself ever. So I started applying it to myself, and it became a daily practice and completely transformed my life and my well-being. How did meditation help you?
So I think it helped me to basically allay a lot of the fears that I was having at the time, you know, going from being part of a family to sort of like becoming a single mom, running my own business. So I'd started my own business sort of like in the April 2017, and just make me feel more relaxed. And one of the meditations that I did was around invoking your spirit guide, so meeting your spirit guide. So all of us have at least one spirit guide. And one day, after about 4 weeks, he suddenly appeared. There was a face of a Native American Indian in front of me. And I said to him, I said, oh, what am I here to do? You know, what's my purpose? And he said, to teach. I said, to teach what? And he just started laughing and then disappeared. But for me, having that connection and knowing that there was someone else who was sort of like with me, had my back, was on my side, brought me a lot of comfort. And you don't necessarily have to believe, you know, that you have spirit guides, but just knowing that they are there. And in my book, I refer to them as my spiritual army. So I was like, I called on my angels, my spirit guides, and I knew that there was, and spirits as well. I knew that there was these people on the other side who were like, you can do this, Lindsay, you can get through this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's part of what the meditation brought me as well.
I get a sense that my lineage, in terms of the people who've taught me and brought me things, as well as my ancestors, are kind of behind me, kind of cheering me on. But meditation for you really did help you to survive and successfully through a very difficult time of change, and helped you to feel supported physically, emotionally, helped you to feel relaxed and calm when you needed it as well. So, you know,
I was just going to say, I mean, like on YouTube now, there are so many different types of like meditations that you can listen to. So when I first started, I remember trying to read a book about how to meditate. And this was when I was working for the retailer. And I remember sitting there thinking, and actually what I did was I threw the book across the room, because I thought there is no way that I can get all of these thoughts out of my head and sit in this stillness and but like I said, there are so many meditations now that you can listen to on YouTube for different things, for chakra clear and for relaxation, and that's what I tended to listen to help me.
Great, and if you check out the Radio Shields Northeast website, there's a couple of meditations on there that I've made for this month. So there's an intention setting one, and there's a kind to your mind, kind to your body one, and there's one about getting in tune with your deeper intentions as well. So check out the Radio Shields website, and you can listen to me a bit more if you like. Or definitely, that's how I started as well. I went on YouTube and just put meditation for relaxation because I was stressed out, and loads came up, and they were actually all really, really, really helpful. So yeah, definitely you could start with YouTube. And then, okay, so meditation, there's other things that you've done as well, isn't there? Like acts of self-care that have really been helpful. What other things would you recommend that people do?
So when I first moved into my house, I have my children laugh at me, but I bought loads of those postcards with affirmations on. So they are scattered around my house, they're everywhere. So I've got one like on my bedroom mirror, which just says, I can, I will, end of story. And then there's one above my bathroom mirror, which says, I am enough. So putting these affirmations all around where you can see them, it starts to sort of change your mindset. So you were saying before about one of your meditations is about being kind to your mind. One of the things that I started doing was changing sort of like the way I spoke to myself as well. So saying, you know, I am enough, I am beautiful, I am kind, I am whatever it is, you know, because I think sometimes we don't realize the impact of speaking negatively to ourselves, what it's then having in the bigger sort of picture. So definitely using kind words to speak to ourselves, because, you know, you wouldn't go around and start saying to someone else, oh, look at the state of you, you know, you're this, you're that. Yeah. But you're doing it to yourself.
Look at the size of your bum in that. That's terrible.
Exactly. So,
oh my goodness, you look dreadful today. What's happened? No, you definitely wouldn't say that to someone in the street, would you?
No. So I just think if you wouldn't say it to someone else, why are you saying it to yourself as well? So I feel like part of that is definitely changing your mindset. And just you can use post-it notes, you know, and just stick them up in places that you see them, and just start getting yourself into the mindset of saying them to yourself and being kind to yourself and talking to yourself like you would your best friend.
Yeah. And do you know what? That's such a simple thing that you can do, but goodness me, it has a massive impact. I always talk about this in my meditation class, because since I was 16, I have wanted a Fiat 500.
Okay.
There used to be, it's totally weird, I know, there used to be, just near where my house was, somebody had an old one, and it was bright pink. And when I was 16, I love pink. And when I was 16, I was like, I really want that Fiat 500. One day I will have a Fiat 500. Yeah. I've hired one a couple of times and felt very cool driving it. I've never actually owned one, because they're not great. You can't get a massage couch in the back of them, really. Yeah. I've always wanted one, and because I've always kind of had this ownership or this idea about them, I see them everywhere. Yeah. It's like everybody, wherever I go, is driving a Fiat 500, and I just notice them. And it's the same when you buy a new car, say you've got yourself a new Ford Focus or something like that. Whenever you're driving around in your new car, all of a sudden you see those cars everywhere, don't you? They're just in front of you wherever you go. And it's really interesting if you start changing your thought patterns, if you can hear, if you can listen, or you can connect with yourself when you're saying those negative things, those not very friendly things, and you can stop yourself from saying them and switch them up and say something different and talk to yourself in a nicer way. It's going to be similar. You're going to step out into the world and start to see nicer things and experience nicer connections with other people, and just basically have a nicer life and a nicer day.
Definitely. It's funny because just with you saying about, you know, seeing things, and I did a meditation the other day where my grandma and granddad came through to me, and the next day I'd taken myself out for a walk, and I had some change in my pocket, and I felt really inclined to look at these coins, and I was like, why am I doing this? Anyway, so I was looking at my coins as I was walking, and I picked out a £2 coin and I turned it over, and you know how on the back of some of the £2 coins there's different pictures, and this picture, yeah, it was a lovely one. It was a picture of two hands holding, and I thought, oh, that's nice. And then I felt like I needed to read the outside, and along the outside it said the name Florence Nightingale, and my grandma was called Florence, so I felt that that was a sign from her that was like, you know, you did see me in your meditation, Lindsay, I was there and I'm still with you. And it's just, yeah, so you do, as your mind becomes clearer from meditation, like you said, you do start to open yourself up and see these signs, you know, from upstairs, the universe, spirit, source, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And yeah, you just become, you have more clarity, I think, knowing about not only who you are, but which direction you're meant to go in. And you tend to go more with the flow as opposed to sort of having structure and routine.
Yeah, so definitely meditation and speaking to yourself as if you were speaking to a good friend, or speaking to a child. I quite often say,
yeah, that's a good one.
Child, would you? So, you know, speak to yourself in a nicer way. What other things would you recommend that people do
in terms of self-care? I think something, going back to something you said earlier, setting boundaries. So sometimes we can struggle with boundary setting because we may feel that, oh, I don't want to upset that person, I don't want to say no, I don't want to, you know, upset them. But in order to look after yourself, you need to have these boundaries around you, and the ability to be able to say, for example, you've organised a night out and you're planning to go out with some friends, but if you feel like actually not feeling it, or you don't actually feel well, it's about being able to have those honest conversations with people and say, actually, I'm not feeling up to it tonight, guys, and sorry, I'm just going to have to bail. Or, you know, if someone keeps asking you to do something and your plate's already like so full and you're like, I just cannot take anything more, being able to just say no, you know, I think that's it's a massive part of self-care, but it's not something that's often talked about, is the boundaries that we need to set ourselves towards others so we can have that space for ourselves.
I think no is a full and complete answer as well. I don't think you always have to feel that you need to explain your no's. Having been on the receiving end of a no several times, it doesn't feel that bad. You know, it's okay. People do understand, and if you are one of those people who are working 60 or 70 hours a week, and you've got kids and you've got lots of commitments and scouts or beavers, a swimming club, and you're trying to squeeze in something else, you know, sometimes just saying no is okay as well, isn't it? You don't feel like you need to give an explanation every time you say no. But yeah, definitely those boundaries are really important as well. So we were talking before about yoga as well. Do you attend yoga classes?
So I've never actually attended any in person, purely because of so I only have so many days, because I do shared parenting with my ex-husband. So trying to get and commit to a yoga class itself in person is really difficult. But what I do is, again, I use YouTube. So there's two really fabulous ones on there that I really enjoy. I started with yoga with Adrienne.
Yeah, I've done a few of hers.
She's really nice, you know, she's very personable, and I feel like the exercises, they're not too challenging for a beginner. And because you're in your own living room, you can do them in your pajamas, you know, it doesn't matter what you're wearing, you know, it doesn't matter if your living room's a mess, it's like you can still do it. And then I've started doing a 30-day challenge. It's yoga with Tim, and I find he stretches you slightly more, so I feel like he's like the next level up. But yeah, I've also, I think it gives you the opportunity to try different yoga styles as well. So there's Kundalini yoga on there, which I enjoy because I can feel the energy coming through, and it's a lot about the breath as well. The yoga with Adrienne, like I said, I feel is a nice gentle beginner style. So yeah, it gives you a chance to experiment and try different things.
That's just brilliant, because, you know, a lot of people think, oh, I've got to go to a yoga class. And, you know, yoga classes sometimes on a Tuesday at 6 o'clock. And that's not always possible, is it, when you've got kids or when you work? So a YouTube video, a lesson via YouTube, the University of YouTube.
It's fabulous. I love
so
it.
much on there, isn't there? I don't know how to do this. Let's see if there's a video on YouTube. I'm always doing that. It's a great thing, isn't it? But you can do that. You could do that early in the morning. You could do it late at night. You could do it in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
It just gives you so much more flexibility, doesn't it?
Definitely.
But I think one of those things that we were talking about earlier is making time. I think we have to choose, don't we, to put time aside for our self-care. Why is that so important, do you think, that we choose to put that time aside?
You know what, it's funny because this came to me sort of yesterday. So being self-employed and working from home, you know, again, it's about the boundaries. And I was just thinking to myself last night that if I didn't make time to do my yoga or to do my meditation practice, then I wouldn't be able to go out into the world and be the person that I am. So I feel like, so if I just sat there like on my laptop working until 9 or 10 o'clock every night without looking after the physical me or the sort of spiritual side of me or my emotions, then I'd be back on that hamster wheel, you know, going round and round and not taking care of me. So, you know, we do have this physical body, which is awesome, but it's up to us. It's our personal responsibility to look after it, to put the right things into it, to drink water, to eat the right foods, to exercise, to maintain it so it can carry us through then to whenever we're meant to then depart this life.
I like that. Take personal responsibility. It's challenging, isn't it, to hear that? But I think it's also very empowering as well. You know, I am taking personal responsibility for my physical body, which is what is going to carry me through my world and through my life and through my day. I'm going to take care of that physical body, but I'm also going to take care of my mental, my emotional, my spiritual health and well-being as well. And how important is it just to be quite disciplined, possibly disciplined to begin with, but then for me it became a habit. I wake up in the morning, I go to the loo, I have a pee, and then I get straight on my meditation cushion, and that's the beginning to my day. And if it's a day off, and I might get up and go for a pee and go back to bed and meditate under my nice warm duvet. But I do always do it every morning, and it's that time that I have for me every morning that sets me up and puts my brain in the right place. It puts my mind in the right place. It puts my heart in the right place for what I'm going to do throughout my day as well. So for me, I know it's very, very important. So say you're a busy single parent and you've got 3 kids who've got all sorts of activities going on and you're super, super busy. What would be your top advice for somebody who's just thinking, oh, well, it's all very well, but you haven't got my life, and I'm not sure how I could do any of those things? What would your advice be to those people?
So it's funny because there was a guy on Twitter who mentioned this earlier and said, oh, all the billionaires and successful people get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I messaged him back. I went, actually, I said, I disagree, because I said, I have 2 small children who tend to sleep in my bed at night, you know, and my sleep is paramount. So I was like, can you please stop putting pressure on people and saying that they have to get up at 5 o'clock in order to do this? So firstly, so if you're a single parent, sleep is paramount. That's the first thing.
Absolutely.
So I think hearing about, you know, stories about people getting up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to meditate before their kids get up, if that works for them, awesome. But if it doesn't work for you, don't do it. You have to find your own sort of like your own time, your own schedule, etc. So sometimes I end up, if I've run out of time through the day, if I've got an extra 5 minutes before I pick the kids up, I literally just sit in the car with my eyes closed and just do some deep breathing. And that might be it for the day, you know. And then, like I said, like last night, I could have carried on working, I could have carried on doing stuff. But once I put the children to bed, I thought, right, quick tidy up. I thought I'm going to do my yoga, and then I'm going to have myself a salt bath, and then I'm going to bed to read a book. And that was it. I just switched off from the internet, you know, because social media can be a massive distraction as well for us. But it's just finding, if you've got any little snippets in your day, you know, you can listen to a meditation as you're falling asleep, and it will fall into your subconscious, which is awesome.
Lovely.
So just do, even if you just do with 5 minutes, whether it's 5 minutes of yoga here, 5 minutes of meditation, it's like you said, it's about getting into the practice and just start. And
I do what I call the breath of tranquility meditation. So think of a nice word like peace or calm, usually a word that's connected with something that I feel I might need a bit more of. So it could be energy, or it could be anything. Chocolate, no. And as I'm breathing in, I imagine that I'm breathing in all of the characteristics of that word. I might even give it a colour, or you know, I might imagine I'm breathing it in through my crown chakra or something like that. And as and I do this while I'm boiling the kettle. So I breathe in the things that I want, and then I might be aware of something I'm feeling that I'm not really comfortable with. It might be a bit of tension in my shoulders, or it might just be a bit of frustration about something, or just anything that I'm not feeling is actually helping me in that moment. As I'm breathing out, I feel like I'm letting go of that. So I'm breathing in the good stuff, letting go of the bad stuff. And I do that while I'm boiling the kettle. So breath of tranquility while you're boiling the kettle.
Well, sometimes like I've escaped to the toilet just for 2 minutes, peace, do you know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm just going to sit here and just breathe in and out whilst the kids are outside, you know, going, Rah! So it's just about finding that time. And again, it's just focusing, I think, on the deep breaths, because we tend to sort of shallow breathe throughout our day. But it's just about getting that breath back and the oxygen.
Yeah, really, really good. So, you said that on an evening you have a salt bath.
Yes.
What are the benefits of salt baths?
So I got into sort of Himalayan salts about 3 years ago, I think. And I started looking into the benefits of it. You know, I've been off to a salt cave down south in Kenilworth, which was awesome. It's beautiful, because the salt itself, when you're breathing it in, can really help sort of like with any lungs, asthma, COPD, anything like that. But what the salt, putting Himalayan salt into your bath, it basically acts as like a detoxifier. So it just draws out any toxins that are in your body and then just replaces them. And I just love them. I've had more baths, I think, in the last sort of 12 months than I've had in the last however many 20 odd years.
I'm a Himalayan salt bath girl too. I find it really helps my skin. It forces me to. You can't be, well, you can be on social media in the bath, but it's a bit dangerous for your phone. You can just switch everything off for those moments, can't you? I don't know how mums can always do it. It can be quite challenging if you've got little kids, but definitely the health benefits of salt baths. What about Epsom salt as well? Do you use any Epsom salt? I love an Epsom salt bath.
No, I don't use Epsom salts or magnesium salts. Literally the only one I use is Himalayan salt. But it's interesting because I think I never used to have baths, because like you said, when you used to come out of the bath, if you had a bubble bath, like a standard bubble bath, because there's so much crud, isn't there, in some of the toxic bubble baths.
There's loads of horrible chemicals in those things.
And I would come out and my fingers would be prune-like, and my skin would feel really dry and tight. But like you said, with the Himalayan salt baths, never get prune fingers.
That's right. Do you know what? That's true. I've never had pruny fingers off a Himalayan salt bath.
Exactly. I've just realised that.
That's so weird. I've never noticed that before, but that's right.
My kids don't have bubble baths either. They have salt baths as well. And touch wood, neither of them have had any issues with their skin. So.
Amazing. So, meditation, kind words to yourself, YouTube, the University of YouTube for listening to lovely meditation audios, listening or watching some instructional yoga videos, so that you can be really flexible about how you or when you but set aside just a little bit of time for self-care. And it doesn't have to be 20-30 minutes. It can be 5 or 10 minutes in the car, while you're on the loo, when you're boiling the kettle, and salt baths, Himalayan salt baths in particular, really, really good. Switching off and the health benefits of the salt baths. It's all really, really simple, mindful acts of self-care, just brilliant. And listen to your heart as well, and sort of go with what your heart is telling you should do as well, putting those boundaries in place so that you learn to say no and feel okay with just saying no. Wow. I'm gonna be reflecting on all of those things for the rest of the day. That's loads of really good information, and putting some of those things in place for myself too. And Lindsay, if we wanted to get people want to get a copy of your book or get in touch with you, how do they do that?
So it's available on Amazon, so A Gentle Hug for the Soul. So they can get it there, or to get in touch with me, my website currently, it's changing soon, but it's nrghealing.co.uk. I'm on Facebook, Lindsay Banks, and my Facebook page is NRG Healing as well. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm everywhere. I'm now on YouTube as well. I have a new YouTube channel if you want to come and check that out.
Brilliant. Yeah, do log on to YouTube, check out Lindsay's YouTube page and subscribe so that you can get her updates of all these wonderful information. And I am delighted to announce that Lindsay's going to be coming back on the show as a regular feature. She's going to be coming on every third Wednesday of the month. We've got James on the second Wednesday and Lindsay on the third Wednesday. So she's going to be available to answer your questions. But we need your questions. We want to hear from you. Have you got any health or well-being questions? Have you got any spiritual questions? Are you going through something in your life right now where you feel you could just do with a little bit of guidance? Now, I know I've had guidance from Lindsay several times in the past, and it's been incredibly useful. So please do make the most of the fact that Lindsay's going to be on. You can message or you can email your questions to studio@radioshields.co.uk. You can get in touch with us via our Facebook page too, or you can just contact us directly. Contact Lindsay directly and speak to her directly, and hopefully we can also maybe get, if you wanted to phone in, we could also arrange for you to phone in and chat with Lindsay as well at some point in the future. But do send us those questions. We want to support you to have a wonderful, happy, healthy life, and if we can be of any assistance, we want to be. So please do reach out and ask us those questions. Lindsay, would you suggest anything else that people can do if they want to get in touch?
No, I think they're the main ways, I think, of getting in touch. And yeah, I think, like you said, if you've got any questions about sort of the spirit world or the other side, or even if you want to come and talk about sort of like, I don't know, aliens or whatever it is, there is no subject that I have that is like,
nothing can't be discussed on this show. It's all open for discussion. So yes, all of those questions: aliens, different dimensions, spirit world, questions about people who've perhaps gone over, who've died and left, or maybe if you're having a difficult time, all of those questions can be asked here.
Definitely.
So email them to us, get in touch, and we'll be delighted to answer those questions. So thanks, Lindsay. Thanks for putting it on. It's great to chat to you, and you'll be able to see this. You'll be able to hear this this interview on the radio, but it'll also be on Lindsay's YouTube page, on my YouTube page, and we'll post it out in multiple places so that you can hear and speak and ask those questions. Get in touch with us as well, should you want to. All right. Thanks, Lindsay. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Have an amazing day.
Thank you.
All right, and I'll speak to you again soon. Thanks. Bye.
Amanda, bye-bye.